Welcome back to BTN Live. I'm Gerry DiNardo with you. Our next guest was the MVP of the Rose Bowl this past year. He led Michigan State to a record 13 wins, and it was the first Rose Bowl victory for Michigan State since 1987. Connor, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Hey, all those things. You had a great season. Michigan State had a great season. What's the biggest challenge for the team to continue that kind of success?
I think the biggest challenge is just us to, remain hungry, remain focused. I feel like a lot of teams, they accomplish something that hasn't been accomplished in so long, and they achieve really a lot of great things. And I feel like some teams, and players get complacent, and that's the biggest thing that the coaches have been, talking to us about is to always, remain hungry, to be greedy and want more. And I feel like the coaches have, instilled that in us ever since the offseason workouts, and you can see that we're hungrier starting up in the spring.
How are some examples where Coach D'Antonio talks about how we can be hungrier? Does he do anything that really makes that point?
They just constantly emphasize it, in team meetings, individual meetings, out there on the practice field and scrimmages. It starts with Coach D and it goes through, all the other coaches and Coach Manny in the weight room and all the other strength coaches. But they're just constantly emphasizing that, and you can see it in the players, how hungry we are and how bad we're striving for greatness each and every day.
I was at practice a week ago, and one of the things that jumped out at me about you, I made the comment, I don't know if Connor's arm is stronger or if he's playing with that much more confidence. You just look like such a different person than a year ago. How do you feel this spring as opposed to last spring when you were fighting for the starting job?
I just feel a lot more comfortable. I feel like last year I was focusing a lot of, mainly just on me, what I could do to win the job, what I could do to get better as a player. And I feel like this spring is just a little bit different with me, not really fighting for a job and, just being more comfortable in the role that I have, and focusing on what can I do to help this team, what can I do to help this offense. But it's just really, I just feel a lot more comfortable this year being going into my fourth year with the offense, the same coaches and the same terminology that we've been using. And I just feel a lot more comfortable out there.
What's the most important thing that you've learned now that you've been a starter for 1 year about quarterback play?
There's going to be ups and downs, and you just got to remain confident and believe in yourself. Not every game's going to go the right way. You might have a good game, you might have a bad game, but you always got to be confident in yourself and your abilities, and to always be positive, to always be an optimist.
There's been so much said and so much written about student athletes' rights and where college football and college athletics is going. What are your feelings on the movement for player unionization and the fact that student athletes could be considered employees?
I really haven't put much thought into it, but to be honest, the situation we're already in now, school costs, $40 grand a year. A lot of guys are getting that paid for free, guys on scholarship. Guys are getting free meals, free meal plans, books are paid for. And I feel like just the opportunity that we have here at Michigan State, and not just Michigan State, but all the other schools and stuff like that throughout the entire United States, it's just like, you can't put a price on it, even if we're going to get treated as employees or whatnot. But I feel like just for what we have now, for what we have given to us, to go to school for free, to get a free education, to play a sport that we've loved ever since we were, little kids. To be able to do that for free already and not get paid, I think is just a saying in itself, and it's just, means the world just to even have that opportunity. But if they decide to pay us, then great.
That's very well said. You play your spring game tomorrow, and you look at spring games in the Big Ten, and Ohio State, Penn State, and Nebraska have had great crowds. And then you look at some other teams. Your in-state rival, Michigan, they don't draw very many for a spring game, and yet there's been a lot of talk about Michigan State and having a big crowd tomorrow. Why is that important to the program?
I think it's just important for us, the program, to show how dedicated our fans are. What kind of fan base we have and how they want to support us. And I feel like we're not having a practice. It's not a glorified practice. It's a game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be competitive. And I feel like when you have a large crowd out there and it's the energy's going, it's electric, that just makes us want to play even harder. So I feel like if we get a large crowd out there, I feel like guys are going to make more plays. Guys are going to have more fun, and it just creates a better atmosphere.
Well, Connor, thanks for having us. That game tomorrow will be on BTN. We appreciate you visiting with you. You're always a very gracious guest. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.